Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. I went over that song a little bit today just because a buddy of mine said, "Why don't you do Dreams by Van Halen?" And I was like, all right, I haven't ever played it, never attempted it. And, you know, the guitar's really not made for all like those harmonics and whatnot, but whatever. I think I probably could have done it out of my own rig better than the Mustang. I mean, I just try to get a sound together real fast, but whatever. It is what it is. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about. I got a gig tonight at Trackside in East Bridgewater. That's with FM station. Tomorrow night I have a gig with AM station. We're playing at the Standish Grill, which reminds me I got to print up the lyrics for Telephone Line. I love that song by ELO. Anyways, so yesterday, I'm in the middle of doing some board revisions as I've spoke about before. And I got a Timmy Pedal in yesterday that came in, a new one for my board, which means I could take the animal off of my rectifier board and put it onto my Night Train board. The Timmy is just what I like to use for a boost, and I really just use it with the crank amp. I'm not going to use it with the dual rectifier because the dual rectifier has its own boost, built into the amp, and I don't really need more gain. Even when I play high gain, I'm not really playing it like so it sounds thin. I still keep it like pulled back a little bit. But anyways, I want you to take a look at this board so you can see this is the board that I use for when I have a Crank Revolution 1 Plus amp, and I also have a dual rectifier version 2 with a modified loop section for my effects. So this is the board. All right, this is what I use on the with the other board that I have that goes with the effects loop. This goes in the face of these amps. That's a Witch Doctor channel switcher that I use for the crank amp. They make switching for amps, aftermarket stuff. I didn't have the crank switch, so I bought that, and I needed a smaller one. This is my dual rectifier Bigfoot with the 3 channels, solo and effects. I use a hardwire tuner. I have the PS5 Super Shifter from Boss, which is nice because I also use the buffer in it. I don't need a buffer. Then next I have the Ego compressor. And after that I have the Fat Boost, which together with the buffer, I always keep those both on. They act as a line driver. And there's my new Timmy. The great thing about the Timmy is when you turn the volume down on your guitar, it really cleans up. I'm just kidding. If I hear one more guy in a pedal review tell me that when the thing turns down, it's just hilarious to me. I just love bringing it up. I'm thinking about calling I'm making an overdrive myself and calling it the Maid. When you turn it down, it really cleans up the room. Thank you. It's a horrible joke. I know, I'm sorry. Can I tell you? But yeah, so anyway, so that's the board that I use for that. The board that I have for my main is now going to stay the way it is with the Klon on there, which I showed already. And I'll be doing some videos. I also going to be doing a few lesson videos coming up but I'm not going to do it till after next week when I have my student. We're going to go over the double diminished scale and just about applying that in blues stuff. I think it's cool. I think sometimes it works better than the altered scale, and I'm just going to show a couple of things like that. If it's something you're into, let me know. Otherwise, the guitar I was using, that's a 17th Street guitar. It's like a hot-rodded Strat. I got a DiMarzio Fred in the humbucker position, and then I have I have an Area 58 in the neck and an Area 61 in the middle position. The treble knob, which there's only one here, let me show you. The treble knob lifts up, and that puts the humbucker from until like it's a parallel series switch, so it makes it like 2 single coils on. Kind of gives you like the back position if you're gonna go like this, and then you would have also 3 single coils on if you have it in that position with it up. The bridge is a Goto 1088, which I always like. It's a very nice, simple thing. It's got a hard V neck, which I love. Stainless steel frets. It has the graduated Goto tuners, but it also has I put two string trees on it because it just, it needs it. And I mean, that's if there's anything that's a flaw. I'd rather have the string trees on a guitar than have the headstock go back where the truss rod is here. If the truss rod isn't here, so on this guitar it's down the bottom, which I think is dumb, but if the truss rod's up top, um, then anything you have with the neck going back is going to cause weakness because this whole thing is channeled out. You're going to have, like, if you think about it, this is going to be a large hole under here. And so your headstock's being held by two little pieces of wood on each side. This is why the Gibsons always crack and snap off, because they have between a 14 and a 17 degree angle, and yet they have the big hole gouged out here. So you got, these two here. Now, if you buy like an early 70s Gibson where it has a volute, the volute in the back is when you have like where it bumps out really far and then comes back in. That really strengthens it. It actually does a lot of good. And I think the volute goes very underrated for the strength and the integrity of the neck. But whereas the neck has the truss rod coming from on the bottom here, then you can have angle here because this is a solid piece of mass and you're not really losing anything there. Now, I do have a couple of theories about truss rods. I think when you have the truss rod enter from here, that you have more control over the main part of the neck that seems to have the most amount of trouble. And I think that's better. Now, the only issue is getting the access to it. So if you have a wheel like here, like you do on the Music Man, that's brilliant. If you'd use a Warmoth makes a modern neck and they have an entrance right here by Godo, that you can just take an Allen wrench right on the bottom of the neck, but the neck goes all the way to the end there. That's where the truss rod is. I think that's brilliant too. I think when you have the truss rod up here, you're controlling more of the neck here, but you kind of miss, you don't really have a lot of control over the action by the butt of the guitar. And you don't have much control over the relief. And that's just my opinion on it, just from setting up guitars and working on them and whatnot. I don't know if you can see this color really well. It's vintage white. Yeah, this is a Strat that I love to play. It's one of my mains. I mean, I think I have, so this one and my yellow, so almost like two yellows, they both have stainless. And then my three Fender Deluxes all have stainless. I have the black one has stainless steel frets, the red one has stainless steel frets, and the honey blonde has stainless steel frets, the one that has the Charlie Christian pickups in it. And so the stainless frets that I got in this one were put in by Wolf in Boston, who, for the best, I mean, an unbelievable price and a great job. If you're in the LA area, there's a guy, Seth Mayer, and Seth does awesome work. Awesome fretwork, and he did 3 of mine. And then I have the other one, the yellow one, that came from Warmoth with stainless steel frets, and I thought that was a great job. And then I also have I have a B-Bender Telly with stainless steel frets, and that was from Warmoth. And then I also have a G&L with stainless steel frets, and I thought they did a great job. And there's this Plex. I mean, that guitar is great. I think it's the one I used on the Rosanna one, the video. It's the clear orange guitar. Great guitar. Great guitar. In fact, it's one of the few guitars that I have where I didn't switch the pickups to the DiMarzios that I like. Usually I would put like a DiMarzio 54 in the bridge and then 2 58s, one in the middle, one in the neck. But I kept the MFD G&L pickups in there because I feel like there's a different sound. They're a little edgy, even though they're a little noisy because they're not noiseless. But I love them, and I think it's another sound to have, so I'm using them. Yeah. I mean, I'm a kind of like a pickup nerd. It's funny to me because, the part that I have, like if you watch YouTube, there's guys demoing pickups. They're all roughly pretty good. There's a guy who does one I think one was I saw with bare knuckle versus the Lukather pickup from DiMarzio, the transition, and I have the transition and I love it. And it's hard to tell the difference. I think the transition may sound a little nicer in the video, but when you're listening to pickups, to me, it's like when I hear pickups, they're all roughly very good. I mean, you can't really listen to a record and be like, like unless it's like poorly recorded. But it's like everything sounds good. Really, with pickups, to me, it's almost like when we talk about the wood of guitar. The wood of the guitar, for me, again, and science will tell you that it doesn't affect the tone coming out of the amplifier. Now, a lot of people are going to argue with that because and then I'll tell you why they argue. They argue because when you hold the guitar, it affects how you play. And so therefore, in a way, it's affecting you, but they're missing the point of the argument that it's not changing anything coming out of the amp. And I understand, but they want to argue semantics, and it becomes like an annoying thing that you can't win. And that's why it's going on online nonstop. But at the end of the day, when you're playing pickups, like if I were to play a DiMarzio Burstbucker, or if I was going to play a Seymour Duncan JB. Now, if I put them through a rig and I set the amp to sound good for that pickup, and I make it so it sounds good for that pickup, you'll get great sounds on both pickups. As a player, I do not like the way the JB responds, and I love the way the Burstbucker has a little bit of that sponginess and more harmonics. And so for that, I love that. And that's like what I'm talking about. It's for the player's perception. As far as the listener goes, I think there's, little differences in pickups and stuff. And I don't want to say too little because, I've gone to see people play where someone told me they were using Duncans, and I'm like, wow, I've never heard a Duncan sound that good, and then find out later that it's a DiMarzio. And I'm not giving an advertisement for DiMarzio, don't get me wrong. They make plenty of stuff that sucks. They make plenty of garbage. But for me, if you're going to buy a DiMarzio pickup or you're interested in getting a pickup, I would say if you're looking for something that has a little bit of edge but still vintage sounding, I would try the DiMarzio Fred. It's what I use. I love it. If you're looking for something even a little bit more warmer, darker, with a more of a Gibson sound, I would try the DiMarzio Air Classic. As far as single coils, I think they make the best single coils. I use 58s in the neck and middle, and I use Pro 54s in the bridge. And I don't think you're going to find a better setup. And I'll challenge anybody to do a comparison. And if anyone's in the Boston area and wants to try my pickups out and show me what they got, I'll do come down and we'll do it. We'll test them out. But I think pickups, when you're testing them out, it's really about the player playing them and feeling the difference in how the pickup responds, more so than the listener listening. I mean, if I told you, hey, on one album, David Gilmour changed his neck from maple, every other record he's changing from maple to rosewood. And then on this album, he's using a different bridge pickup. I mean, nobody would know the difference. Who the hell could tell? The only person that could tell that is David Gilmour because he's playing it. And it responds different and it feels different. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. So tomorrow, I am getting a JRC 4885D, which is the old the old Tube Screamer 808 chip, and I'm putting that into the Boiling Point rock box that I picked up from my friend Rich. That it wasn't working, and I was going to send it back to the manufacturer. When I sent him a picture of the serial number, he saw it and was like, "Where's the chip?" So it must have fallen out. Not a big deal. But that's going to go on my board. And if anybody wants to come down and play my small night train board, I am going to be at the Riviera in Bridgewater, Mass. On August 12th from about, get there early. Get there at 3:30, and it goes till about 8 o'clock. It's an open jam. It's a fun time. You put your name on a list. You get to go up with, a lot of great guys, and it's a lot of fun. And if you have a couple of guys you want to come down with and get up and do a tune, bring a couple of guys down. The more the merrier. It's a very fun jam. It's a jam to check out. So yeah, if you can come down August 12th, I'll be there playing my night train with my board with the rock box on it, and the other drive I use on it's an Animal, and it'll be fun. So come on down. Anyways, for now, I got to get out of here. My brother just came in town, and we're gonna go grab a bite to eat, and I'm out of here. Very good.
You're right on target. You hit the nail right on the head with your comments, what you're saying today. You're 150% correct.